Hey guys, Lady Lee here from ladyleeshome.com, and in this video I wanted to talk to you about how I grow my garlic, how I plant it, and how I take care of it. It took me a few years to really figure out why my garlic wasn't doing so well, and it was that year that I planted 500 cloves of garlic and ended up with a whole rotten mess. The whole 500 cloves or 500 heads just were rotten. They just rot in the ground, and it was devastating. I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong, but then a couple of years later I think I figured it out, and I just harvested my beautiful garlic a couple of days ago, and I wanted to talk to you about growing garlic. I posted a picture of my beautiful harvest on my Facebook page, and a lot of people started asking questions on, how the cloves, some of them are small, but some of them are really, really big and beautiful, and a lot of people said that they also had problems growing garlic. So I wanted to take a couple of minutes and talk to you about how I do it and what do I think that is the secret, because really garlic doesn't have any pests that bother it. Garlic is not very picky about what soil you plant it in. So really it's not that hard of a crop to grow. It does not have a lot of leaves, so it doesn't shade the ground, which means there are a lot of weeds. So weeding is a thing with garlic and something that you have to make sure that you do on a regular basis. But other than that, it's not a really hard crop to grow. So let's go back to the beginning and to the basics for a minute. We have two main groups of garlic, softneck and hardneck. Softneck varieties are suitable for growing in warmer climates, so zone 7 and above. We are here in North Carolina, we're in zone 7B, so I grow softneck garlic. If you live up north, let's say zone 6 and down, then you'll grow the hardneck variety and consider yourself lucky because you'll also get the garlic scape, which we don't get with the soft variety. So you get actually a couple of harvests. You can harvest the garlic scapes, and then you can also harvest the actual garlic. Now, the garlic leaves are also edible. You can make a really, really tasty paste out of them. So you can go ahead and harvest a little bit of green garlic leaves from both types of varieties. But remember, when you are looking to buy garlic, that if you live in zone 6 and under, you're looking for a hardneck variety, and if you live in zone 7 and under, then you're looking for a softneck variety. When you buy your garlic for planting, so your seed garlic, you probably get a head, okay? So you'll get a garlic head like this, and what you have to do is break it into cloves, okay? And we plant 1 clove. Now, this is the thing. I grow my garlic. This is the bed where the garlic was, and again, it is important that you have good soil, rich in organic matter, but it's not as important as you having a well-drained bed. And that was my mistake at the beginning with garlic. I mulched it, which kept the ground way too moist around it, and I had it just growing either in raised beds or, in a regular row. What I started doing is planting my garlic on a raised row. So this row, you see, this is the walkway where I'm sitting, and the row itself is probably like 6 to 8 inches above, raised. So then, and it doesn't have any frame, or it's not a raised bed or anything like that. So whenever we have a lot of rain, it is really easy for this soil just to drain, and then the soil around the garlic head stay dry. Okay, so garlic does need watering, 1 inch of water a week, just like most other garden vegetables. But where other plants will really benefit from having mulch around them and having this full of life, moist soil, garlic actually doesn't like it. It likes to get its water, drink it, and then the soil has to be drained and dry for a few days before you water again. I think really this is like the secret to growing really good garlic. Just make sure that your soil is not too wet. And this is also the reason why when we grow garlic there is a lot of weeding, because I don't use mulch, so that means that there's nothing to help me with the weeds. I will probably try next year to grow garlic. I don't think that I'll use the black plastic because I feel like that might keep the soil too moist, but I might try some agriculture fabric, something that can breathe, and then just make holes in it and plant the garlic in the holes, and that might help a little bit with the weeding, but that will be an experiment. I haven't done it yet, so I don't know to tell you if it works or not. For right now, I just need to weed, so I weed every few days. I come by the garlic bed and I weed. So that's the bed that you need to grow, or that's how I grow garlic. When you get your seed garlic, you break the head into cloves, and then the base of the garlic goes down, the tip goes up. We're talking about 3 inches deep and between 4 to 6 inches between cloves. Now, you probably read that you need about 12 inches or so between rows. I usually don't do more than 6 to 8 inches between rows. So that's how I plant my garlic. I plant my garlic, and this is also a really important thing. You plant garlic in the fall, okay? So the end of October, if you are in a cold climate, might be even the beginning of October, it will grow just a little bit, a few inches. You'll see the greens come up a few inches, and then it will stop. You don't have to do anything during the winter. You can cover it, maybe with a little bit mulch during the winter, just to protect the greens a little bit, but make sure you remember to remove the mulch in the spring. But you let the garlic just stay in the ground from the end of October, or the middle of or beginning if you live in a really cold climate. So from that time all the way during the winter, you just let it sit there. What it does, it doesn't grow tops, but it works on establishing a really good root system. So then when spring comes, the clove already has a really good established root system, and it can support really good greens, and then at the end of the season a really good size head. And that's another reason or another secret to growing really big garlic heads. You want to give it this period of winter to kind of stay in the soil and develop a really good root system. Here in zone 7B, we harvest our garlic this time. So we are now at the first week of July. So last week of June, first week of July. And what you'll see some of the leaves starting to dry and yellow. Okay? Some of them will still stay green, but some of them, maybe 50% of them, will be yellow and will start to die. And that's when you want to harvest your garlic. You harvest your garlic at the end of a hot and dry day, okay? We want the moisture content in the head, in the cloves, to be as low as possible. So whereas a lot of leafy greens or beans or things like that you'll harvest in the early hours of the morning after a cool night, with garlic you don't want to do that. You want to let the head be as dry as possible before you harvest it. So wait for a good hot day, and then in the evening just harvest all of your garlic. And then what we do is we have to let it cure. So the garlic head has to dry for a couple of weeks before we can actually start using the garlic. And what I do is just at the neck I cut it, and then I have this plastic bean over here, and what I'll do is I'll just organize my garlic in it in one layer, and I'll keep it under a roof, so probably on my front porch for about 2 weeks. Now of course you don't have to use a plastic bean. If you have some kind of table or maybe a screen that you can put on like shop legs or whatever, we want really good air circulation around the garlic heads, and we want to give them about 2 weeks to dry. You can also cut the roots, so we don't need the roots. And just like this, we leave the garlic. So one layer. When you harvest it, you can brush a little bit the soil, but don't peel any of the skin or anything. And that's how I'll do it. I'll just cut the roots and the tops. Again, if there are some green tops, you can use them to make something, but that time they're probably pretty old and tough, so I'm not sure if there'll be a lot of if they'll be great to use. If you have goats, the goats will probably love them. So that's what I'm gonna do with my tops here. Okay, so in one layer, and I'm saying under a roof because I did the mistake in the past of leaving the garlic in the garden thinking, oh, it's going to be pretty dry, so I'll just leave it in the sun for a couple of days. And then what happens? A rainy day or a wet night or whatever comes around, and you just forget. There's so many things to do around the homestead at this time of the year. We're right in the middle of the season, so just make sure you put it somewhere where it's not going to get wet. Okay, I'm going to put it on my front porch. We want, again, a well-ventilated area, and we want to put it in one layer. So after a couple of weeks of drying, it is ready to use and to store. And somebody asked me on Facebook, where is the best place to store garlic? Whenever it comes to vegetables, the answer is always the same thing. If you have a root cellar, that's the best place to store vegetables. If you have a basement, somewhere that it's dry and cool, maybe 45 degrees, 50 degrees, something like that, that's the best place to store all the vegetables. However, garlic actually does pretty well at room temperature too. So what you can do is just keep it in your kitchen, keep it in a basket. Again, try to keep it in an open, well-ventilated place where it will not, be too humid or get wet, and it should last for a month, really, just like that on the counter. So that's it. That's how I grow and cure garlic. And if you like this video, please make sure to subscribe and like and share it. And I will put a link below in the description to post on the blog that explains in more details how to plant garlic and how to choose the right variety for you. So make sure you go and visit that, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.